Artificial intelligence certainly makes my brain hurt. There's lots of massages here at this conference in the middle of London that is investigating and showcasing artificial intelligence. Wherever you're watching this, artificial intelligence is going to be a huge part of all of our lives. Not just changing the way we have healthcare, changing education, changing the way we work, but also changing life at home. This place, as you would expect, is absolutely jam-packed with people trying to sell you stuff. Car manufacturers, apartments, software, computers, financial services. One of the big questions that hangs in the air at this conference is who looks after all of that data? Data runs artificial intelligence. So who runs looking after your private data, your private financial data, your private health data? I've been talking to the UK government minister responsible for artificial intelligence, Jeremy Wright, and asking him some of those questions.
And I think what we've seen is technological development in the past running a long way ahead of the rules and regulations that need to surround that. And what I think we're going to do with artificial intelligence, to take it as an example, is try to do things differently. And it's very important for artificial intelligence's development and for its acceptance by most people around the world that we have an ethical framework that surrounds the technology. And that means that people can be confident that the data, the information that drives artificial intelligence will be properly used, properly protected, and that people will know when they're talking to someone who is a real human being or when they're effectively talking to a machine. That's hugely important if we want people to trust this technology, and trusting it is essential to allowing it to do the most effective things it can to improve our lives. Well, let me give you an example of how we're improving that track record. So part of my responsibilities are to look at the way in which the internet more broadly, social media, search engines can be made safer for people to use. There's a gap at the moment. I think people are becoming increasingly conscious of it, between the regulation, the control of bad behaviour that exists for broadcast media, for example, print media, behaviour on the streets, the difference between what's controlled there and what isn't controlled online. We need to do something about that, and the British government is doing something about that. So we're bringing forward proposals to impose what we call a duty of care on all online companies that deal with user-generated content, and to say to those companies, you have a responsibility to keep your users as safe as you reasonably can, and we will need a regulator to hold those companies to account for any failures under that duty of care. Now that's an attempt to address exactly the gap you're talking about, and the response from the companies is, I think, broadly to accept that the time has come for self-regulation in this area to end and for the government to take a role. Only governments can legislate and then regulate, and governments should.